Hi, everybody. I thought I would do a little follow-up to the message that Andrew Harvey and I sent out a couple of days ago on the Mystical Spring series that CMED's doing. And Andrew will be launching next week with his class on Jesus. But I wanted to chat about why I created a Mystical Spring series in the first place, because I'm so enthusiastic about it. And, and why I would include Wonderful Mirror by Star doing The Dark Night of the Soul, and then I'll do Teresa of Avila and her brilliant teachings on the interior castle and the qualities of power you have in your soul. Mystical teachings are not the easiest teachings to convey. I mean, it's not the easiest thing in the world to inspire people to go into themselves to discover the power of the soul. It's not, but it should be. It should be the most enthusiastic journey you'll ever take. And why isn't that? And you know what? What occurred to me, and this probably is going to sound crazy to you, but I'm going to compare it to a movie I saw years ago. This movie is called The King of Hearts, and maybe some of you saw it, but if you haven't, it goes back forever. But there was a scene in that movie that imprinted in me, and I've thought about it. I'm telling you, if I thought about it once, I've thought about it 1,000 times. The movie is set in France, and it's World War II, and there's a British officer or something, and he's fleeing the Nazis, and he runs into a place that is like a institution for people they think are mentally crazy. So he goes into this institution, and he meets all of these eccentrics, all these characters. One woman, if I remember correctly, she always wears a ballet costume all day. Another person is always making up great stories. Another person thinks he's the King of Hearts. It goes on and on. But all of these people, what they have in common is they're very kind, and they're loving, and they're sweet, and they're just wonderful people. They're just eccentrics. And there's a scene in which he's sitting in a window, and he's scared because he's being pursued by Nazis. And he looks out the window, and there's the town square, and he sees these Nazis lining up resistance fighters, and the Nazis are gunning them down. And in this scene, you realize what he's looking at is outside the institution, where people are being slaughtered with guns. That's considered the normal world. That's considered normal. And then he looks at these people who've been locked up because they're considered crazy. They're kind, they're loving, yes, they're eccentric, but they're tender, harmless, sweet. And those people are murdering people who want freedom. And he looks at them, and he looks at these people, and he looks at them, and you could see that he is in conflict about how could that be considered normal, and this considered insane. That scene took my breath away. It took my breath away. And that scene has come to me so many times when I look at this world of ours, that what we consider normal, people being gunned down, Asian women being gunned down, people being slaughtered constantly, gun violence, hatred outside is considered normal. And the pursuit of the higher qualities in us the gifts of the Spirit, the potential in us to understand our higher resources is questioned, as if that's crazy, as if that's crazy, when in fact, what should be the thing we fear the most is our darkest potential, is our absolute aptitude for gunning down people. For what we should fear the most is not our potential to awaken to our capacity to heal others, to our incredible gifts of the soul, but rather we should fear the destructiveness of our anger, the destructiveness of our hatred, and how easily that erupts in us, how easily our fear erupts in us, and what that can do when it happens, how much we fear our invisible potential, how much we're in terror of, in fact, encountering the gifts of our soul. We're in terror of it. Why on earth would anybody be in terror of their light and drawn to their darkness? Why would that not scare the hell out of someone when in fact the light does? Why does the pursuit of the light become the thing people say, are you crazy? Are you crazy to go that direction? When in fact you can have all this darkness, and you can have greed, and you can have all of this, and that's considered normal. That's considered sanity. There are times when I wonder, what is the point? I mean, I think when I look at Andrew's class on Jesus, he's extricating Jesus from the church view and all of that, and into who he was as a cosmic being, not yet captured by church, but who he was as a cosmic being who came down to say, these are laws you need to know that will liberate you from suffering. And then I think of the dark night of the soul as taught, as introduced by John of the Cross. This incredible spiritual journey in which he articulated so beautifully that the dark night, though it looks like psychological suffering of the worst kind, which it is, if you recognize it as a spiritual journey, as a spiritual crisis and not a psychological one, you'll see underneath that it's in fact the battle of reason versus soul, of wanting to have life bend to your reason, of needing to control what cannot be controlled, and finally giving way to a force greater than yourself. It is the human being versus the cosmos. And human beings always think they can control what cannot be controlled. And therein lies the suffering. Therein lies the suffering. It is very difficult to believe in what cannot be seen. It's very difficult. And I get that. I so get that. And yet once you cross that Rubicon and you activate, allow your soul to animate those receptors to the holy invisible world, then belief in that world becomes the simplest thing in the world. And this rich guiding force. And then I will take Teresa of Avila and once again examine the rich journey into your inner mansions as she described them, but I will expand it with the teaching on what is organic divinity. What is the nature of your nature? I feel these teachings now are so rich. There are so many questions and challenges that are facing us these days. And they are not just mental, emotional, political challenges. They are so deep. They are questions of right and wrong and ethics and courage and fortitude, because we are in an era of transformation. We are in an era when the balance of power and life is moving around us and within us. And truly, 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 it is for all of us to respond. So I'm hoping this series will be one form of helping to escort you through these questions and into you, one class at a time. Thank you, everybody.